Hey guys, welcome to an above average build guide for Last Epoch made by Zor. The build we're covering today is Shadow Cascade with a focus on cooldown reduction. The goal of the build is to get shift to the lowest cooldown we can. By lowering shift we create damage in a few different ways. We gain movement speed, which is transitioned into bonus damage. We gain dodge, which is also turned into crit multiplier. With the perfect version of this build, you can actually get shift down to 1 second and have dodge maxed out at 85, so you are nearly unkillable forever. There's a near perfect version in the Last Epoch Tools link below. As you can see, it's a pretty quick and effortless build. I'm running around, smoke screens creating shadows, shift is creating shadows, Shadow Cascades creating more shadows when it kills things. It's pretty fun, pretty fast. So the goal of this build is to create as many Shadow Cascades as possible. And we do that through multiple ways. Shift is creating 2 of them, start and leaving. It's also leaving shadows behind, which is leaving umbral blades behind. We'll get into what all of these are doing specifically after. But the goal is to shift, and it will cause all of your shadows to explode to more shadow cascades. More the better. We have crit multiplier being created by this decoy. When you throw it and dash at the same time, the dodge rating is converted to crit multiplier for 4 seconds. Very useful. The more we dash, the more dodge we have, and the more dex we have, the more dodge we have. All adds up quite a bit. Now we're gonna go through the skills in the order that I would grab them while we're leveling. I would start with shift. I would grab velocity, momentum, come down, and grab shadow slip so that you are invulnerable while moving. You want to come down here and grab dancing shadows, as our build is going to revolve around Shadow Cascade eventually once you get it unlocked. And then finally you're going to want to come up here and grab damage after shifting. The second ability we're going to want to grab is Smoke Bomb. You're going to want to start by coming down here and grabbing Umbral Assault. We want to create as many shadows as possible. You can grab Leech while leveling. It'll help you out a ton, because you're going to be sitting in Smoke Bomb anyway. You will not need it later. You can grab Crimson Shroud for bleed chance while you're leveling. It doesn't hurt. Leveling with bleed is a little easier than leveling with crit. This is a crit build in the end. But after you grab those, you're going to come to the right. Grab defensive nodes. Frailty and Silver Shroud's a nice defensive if we get hit. It gives some ward. So the third ability we're going to want to grab is Decoy. This ability is used later in the game for this build, so it's not 100% necessarily while leveling. You're probably going to want to switch whatever your third one is for Shadow Cascade anyway while you're leveling. But if you want to follow the guide, grab Decoy. Over here, mana efficiency, because Shadow Cascade and whatever else you're using to do damage is probably going to be expensive. So we don't want to be using too much on a support ability. We're going to get Armor Shred and Frailty over here, and along with a little bit of haste, so we can keep moving around quickly. Lastly, you're going to come down here and grab this ability called Ambush, which gives us crit multiplier based on dodge chance. And if you recall, Shift has an ability called Elusive, and every time we shift, we get dodge for dexterity. And so the way these two abilities work together is every time I drop a decoy and dash at the same time, I'm going to grab crit multiplier based on the amount of dodge I had while I was shifting. And as we're cooldown pretty low, we're gonna have that up often anyway. So there's two ways you can activate that, and you can either throw it far away and dash, so that when it lands, you have your dodge buff, or you can go ahead and dash and throw it, which I've noticed is much more effective. If there's no latency, or if you're playing offline and you try and throw the totem close to you and dash, you won't get the buff in time because it's based on when you drop it. Had that happen a couple of times. It just depends how the server is, but as long as you're throwing it far away and then dashing, fine. Ideally, that's going to be part of the combo, and I will get into combos later because we are utilizing flow for some of our damage. Third or fourth, depending on how you do it, we're going to grab Shadow Cascade. It is going to be our main damaging ability. As far as initially building it, we're going to want mana efficiency, so we're going to come down here and grab Onslaught and fight in the shadows as soon as possible. If you can manage to grab attack speed while you're leveling, go ahead and grab Leverage Momentum. It's a very effective node. But of course, I would go ahead and grab Gloomstalker because we want as many shadows as possible. Crit multiplier, more crit, and area damage. Lastly, depending on where you're at, the more shadows, the more damage. It's pretty fun. Things everywhere. I tested a couple of different abilities for the last node. I've tried Dancing Strikes, I've tried Lethal Mirage. The most effective one I found was actually Umbral Blades. We can manage to put out our physical penetration shred quicker because these things are going to hit stuff while we're not having to worry about it. It also does a little bit of damage. It's not the most because we're not throwing based, and Umbral Blades has damage bonus for throwing attack, but we're still stacking dex, and that's okay. So you're going to come down here, you're going to want to grab, whenever your shadows expire, you drop a blade, and you want to grab Blade Storms after that. Blade spin in place, Blade Storm duration, we love that. They're bigger. And then the Seek Out enemies. So grab the shadows, drop Umbral Blades when expired, and then Blade Storms. Lastly, grab these. Shadow Dagger doesn't hurt. It'll add up eventually, and you'll do a little bit of damage at some point with it, because they are constantly hitting things. I've seen my Umbral Blades critting for 5k, 10k, and I'm not even having to do anything. And again, it's just the only multiplier I have is dex, not stacking throwing. And then after that, max out these two nodes, call it a day. Might have an extra node laying around, just put it wherever. Alright, so you may have noticed that I have Dancing Strikes on my bar, and I don't actually have it talented, and that is because we're using it to generate flow, which is on our tree here. So every unique ability that we use, fourth one does bonus damage. Only have 1 point in it, 40%, not huge, but it adds up over time. So there's combos you can do. You can use Dancing Strikes, throw a decoy, dash, and then Shadow Cascade for bonus. And then dash, Shadow Cascade. Again. That's consistent damage. So when you're running around a Echo, you can literally be Dancing Strike, throw it here, do more, dash, spin. You can also do Dancing Smoke Bomb. I'm going to drop the combos on the screen. Essentially, they're the only three you'll need to always hit that fourth flow every single time. Again, that's going to be Dancing Strikes, Decoy, Shift, Shadow Cascade. or Dancing Strikes Smokescreen dash Shadow Cascade, or Dancing Strikes dash Shadow Cascade. Those are the 3 combos that you can spam running around Monoliths. And with Shift being such a short cooldown, you can pretty much guarantee that every time you use 2 Dancing Strikes, it's going to be up for the combo. Alright, let's get a little 199 Corruption boss going. See how that goes. Should be not too bad. Boss is melting pretty well. Love to see it. With crisp bossing and regular. As long as you dodge abilities anyway. But we can get everything all balanced out. Just like that. So here we have our Last Epoch planner. This is what I would go for if I was grinding for hours and hours on end, because I'm having a bad time with these smoke weavers, and you're gonna need to find a exotic with attack speed as well, because Shadow Cascade is multiplied by attack speed, and this node is extremely effective. So attack speed is life. Here you'll find all the cooldown, ideal cooldown I should say, rings, tier 7 on the belt, tier 7 on the boots. Again, a dream. Find your idols, shadow penetration, or physical penetration with shadow daggers, etc. A little bit of health. Your blessings are all here. Rings, because you gotta find more opals. Stun chance. Crit avoidance. Armor. The usual. All of your skill trees are here. The exact same as the other build. And the passive tree is also here. Did not cover in the video, so hope you made it this far. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I have bonus content, another boss that I was fighting, and the unexpected happened. So, enjoy that and subscribe. Thanks. I'll go ahead and hit a 199 Leader of the world. It's your pots. Don't need them. Who needs them? Not me. Boss just vibing over there. Love it. A little shreddy going on. Full death.